Hi, welcome back to my channel. My name is Laura and today I'm doing a haul video. This is going to be a haul for March and April. I had a very small shopping month in March, but last weekend there was a sale in my city. I was able to find a handful of titles that fill holes, and I have found a handful of titles that create holes, but they're all really cool titles and I'm really happy to add them to my collection. So I do have a pretty good size haul here for you today. I'm going to show you all of these titles. So I'm going to start off with the March things that I got. So the first and only new book that I have bought in the last 2 months was in March. This is Fukushima Devilfish by Katsumasa Susumu. This was published by Breakdown Press. It's actually a fairly sizable book. It has 2 short stories or 2 manga in it, I believe, both about the effects or dangers of nuclear power or living or working at a nuclear power plant, and particularly the Fukushima plant. So that is the famous plant from the 2011 disasters. So this was written in the 80s, so it's quite ahead of its time. On the back of the book you get critical and biographical essays. I haven't read any of this, so I can't tell you much about it, except for that they're alternative manga. The art looks like this. You can see the blue scale. There is maybe some adult scenes in this, so you have to be aware of that. It is alternative manga, I think published in Garo. There's definitely a couple of pictures of Garo magazine, so I'm assuming these were published in Garo. I really don't know too much about this, except for that it looked like an interesting title, and I'm certainly interested in the topic and would love to read this. So I'm really happy to have this. I love the neon cover. It's absolutely fantastic, so that was really great. But if you are curious, there's nothing underneath. It's pretty boring underneath the cover, but a beautiful cover nonetheless. I'm really happy to have this publication. It is pretty expensive. It's definitely not a cheap manga. Probably has a very small print run. So it is going to be a higher cost, but it is a really nice looking publication. Smells great, if that matters to you. And I think it's going to be a really interesting read, particularly the essays at the back. I think I'm going to really enjoy them, I guess as much as you can enjoy topics like this. But a really nice publication. I'm really glad to have this. The other thing that I ended up getting were Super Manga Blast Volume 34. This comes from Samuel Trejo, who also has a YouTube channel. He had heard that I was looking to collect the rest of the series. I only have 2 magazines of this, I think. But I was super happy to get this, so thank you so much for sending this to me. I hope you don't mind that I said your name, but I really appreciated it. I appreciated it. That was awkward. I really appreciated it. It just sounds so weird to me for some reason. I immediately read through this entire thing. I thought it was absolutely wonderful, particularly the What's Michael comics, just because they are so short and funny. I had wanted to collect this because there was rumors that Makoto Kobayashi's Club 9, which was only published in 3 digest-sized volumes, was actually complete printing in the magazine, but they had dropped it in the digest. So I really want to finish reading that series because I love that series. It's one of my favorite seinen series. It is so funny. So I am sort of picking away at this, and I definitely am going to try and collect this one probably in the next 1.5 years. So this will be on my priority list soon. So he had heard that I was interested in it and was very kindly sent me his copy. So I'm really happy to have this and add it to my collection, and hopefully I will have all in a row, and hopefully it really does complete in this magazine and I'll be able to finish reading that series, because that is really all that I want, is to read the rest of that series. And I've wanted to read the rest of that series for years, and I was like thrown for a loop when I had heard that it might actually be finished somewhere. So I'm really pleased to have this, so thank you. And the other thing that he sent me in the mail was Volume 5 of Robot. I believe it also is a serialized magazine, just like the Super Manga Blast, but it's all in color. It almost looks like an art book. Like, it's a really high quality publication. I don't know pretty much any of these artists. I don't know any of these stories. And for me, it's very strange to read manga in color, so I'm not entirely sure what I think about this yet. Hopefully, if I see some volumes somewhere, that I'll be able to pick up a little bit more of it. But yeah, I'm definitely very interested in this. I hadn't really heard of this much, except for to see it on a few people's like collection videos. So I'm really interested in this, and I really appreciate getting it because I had never looked at it before and it was something completely new to me. So definitely will be well taken care of in my collection, and thank you so much for sending this to me. As for the rest of my haul, it's almost all going to be out of print, as well as older titles, old used titles that I got at a sale. These sales happen kind of like 2 or 3 times a year, and so I always want to make sure that I go to them because they fill holes in my collection. It was really funny though the day that we went, because in the same kind of building, there's 2 doors right at the very entrance, and obviously at the entrance, and one of the doors goes into the comic sale, and the other door went into like a Harley Davidson event. So my sister and I went into the wrong door. And we were just like, where are we? We're in the wrong place. These aren't our people. It was very obvious that we were very out of place. Everybody was, you know, big tough guys with their long scraggly beards and all in like full leather, and you're just like, I don't belong here at all. So we were laughing our heads off. And then we did find the comic book place, but we did see a few bikers come in, and the first thing that you see in the comic place is just sort of a wall of stuffed animals. And so there's a few kind of shocked faces as they were walking. You're just like, I don't belong here, these aren't my people. You couldn't have had like 2 more opposite kind of groups of people meeting in the same place, so it was quite funny. At least it was to me. At any rate, let's see what I got. So the first thing that I've got here is Apocalypse Meow Volume 3 by Motofumi Kobayashi. I did not know anything about this except for that Samuel Trejo happened to mention this a few times, so I am picking this up when I see it. I can't believe I found a volume of it at the sale. I have looked online and stuff, and it's really quite hard to find and out of print. It does look kind of like a war story, but all the characters are animals, like so, and hopefully, I haven't really looked at this, so I don't know what I'm sharing, but hopefully it's okay. Anyway, I am going to be collecting this. Hopefully I'll be able to find a few volumes before this at some point, but was really excited to find this one particular volume because I've looked online before and it was just unavailable. The next title that I picked up is Digishot Theater by Koge-Dombo and others, and it is called Pyoko is Number 1. This was published by Broccoli Books, who of course are no longer with us. It pretty much looks like so. I have a couple of volumes of Digishot, all published by Broccoli Books. This is just sort of a nostalgic series for me. I can't really explain too much what it is. It's just sort of weirdness, comedy. A lot of what is in here, and I'm assuming this is why it's called And Others, as the author is called And Others, is that this looks a lot like fan art, or, you know, doujinshi in a way, so the art kind of changes slightly. Like, I wouldn't necessarily say that this is Koge-Dombo's art style. So there are, like, bits and pieces that do and don't look like the artist. So it's interesting. There's lots of extra things at the back, too. Like, there's quite a lot of pages of just sort of, like, extra art and character things, and you know, like the information about, you know, cultural translation note. There's lots of translation notes. Interview, character guide, so like it's a really busy comic in a little short volume. It's interesting to add to the collection. I'm glad to find another volume. I didn't know there was more of Najica Blitz Tactics by Takiya Tashiro. I have bought volume 1 and 2, both at different sales, and now I have volume 3, and I think this is it. Maybe I'm totally wrong. This was published by ADV. It It looks like so. It looks like other things as well, but some of the pages are maybe not super appropriate. A lot of fan service. It is quite violent. I have read the first volume, and this was something that I was really not looking forward to. It was one of the titles on my shelf pick for my shelf TBR thingy that I'm doing, and it was just a title that I had recently got, and I was like, oh, I'll just get it out of the way, I'll read it, find out what it's about. I really liked it. I thought it was a lot of fun. Since then I have bought 2 and 3, so I probably will pick this up again and try and read it through. Hopefully this is all that I need to collect, because I'm really not too sure, but I'm glad that I'm finding at least the volumes in sequence, which is kind of amazing. I got the single volume of Orion by Shirow Masamune. This is the same author as Ghost in the Shell, as well as a number of other titles. We have quite a lot of titles by this author. I think just probably another cyberpunk series. The art is like this. It potentially could be fun. It definitely looks very action-packed. But really I added it to collection because we do have so much other titles, or so many other titles by Masamune in our collection, so it's just great to find some more titles, especially ones that are self-contained like this. Another self-contained title, I have never seen this at the sale before, and I don't remember ever seeing it at stores. This is Ashen Victor from The World of Battle Angel Alita. This is Viz graphic novel by Yukito Kishiro. So this is actually just one particular character that appears in Alita, apparently. Let's see if there's a not too violent page. And wow, that's pretty intense. I would show it to you, but ew. Maybe that. So this is what the art looks like. I don't know if this is going to be re-released or released at all with the new releases of Alita by Kodansha is doing Alita. But it's just really great, like I said before, to find a volume that is self-contained, so something that you can actually read on its own without anything else, without any context. It looks really violent. The art style is very stark contrast, black-white. And that's pretty much all I know about this. I got another volume of Twin Spica by Yaginuma. This is volume 9. I have 1 through 3, but Twin Spica, published by Vertical, who tend to have small print runs and tend to not reprint their titles, so they tend to go out of print really quickly and then also become quite expensive when they are out of print. So I will just be picking Twin Spica up when I see volumes of it. So I have a large gap between 1 through 3 and then 9 now, but I will just slowly put this collection together as I do with most of them. This is an old CMX title, and it's very strange when you get these titles that are in the large trim format. This is volume 8 of Orfina by Kitsune Tanoji. You can see that it is actually quite curved, but it's still in plastic, so it was sort of like a compromise between a bent-ish comic and one that wasn't all yellowed, so it is all protected in its plastic. I do have other volumes of this. I think I have volume 7 through or 6 through 9 now. Like, I think it's just a couple of volumes in a row. This was also published in a smaller format. And I have read a little bit of this when it was releasing, like way back. I remember enjoying it at the time, but who knows how my taste would have changed. I don't have enough of this to read though, so I think I only start at volume 6, so I can't really read much about it, but I think it's one of those orphan / chosen one type stories. I don't remember though. The next title that I picked up because it is a volume 1, and it's got a really pretty cover, so that was enough. This is Genju no Seiza by Matsuri Akino. This is the same author as Pet Shop of Horrors, as well as Kamen Tentai. Yeah, Tentai. This, I've only read the first chapter, but it actually looks quite interesting. It's basically the story about a boy with spiritual powers or psychic powers, and nobody really knows about it, and so he feels quite superior to people, even though he plays himself as being a really kind and nice person, and then he discovers that he's actually the reincarnation of some god or some ruler or something. I read the first chapter though, and it looked pretty good, and I really like when the main character is unlikable, because that doesn't happen too often. and it definitely can really change the direction of a series. So the art kind of looks like such. So yeah, I think this is going to be a good title. I don't know how long the story is. I don't have very much of, I have a little bit of Kamen Tentai. I don't know if I have Pet Shop of Horrors. I've certainly read at least the first 2 volumes of it, like way back, but I don't know that I collected any of it. So it'll be interesting. It's definitely a very pretty aesthetic, and I'm looking forward to checking it out a little bit. Hopefully not very much to collect, but good that it's a volume 1. This one I'm very excited to pick up. This is BT'X volume 12 by Masami Kurumada. I think I need only 2 more volumes of the series to complete it. I'm very excited about that. This is the same author as Knights of the Zodiac. It has a... that's a weird page. Let me find you a not as weird page. Oh, here, this one's pretty. So the art looks like this. It's just so pretty. It's just such a wonderful aesthetic. This is a really nice, thick, heavy publication by Tokyopop. You can tell that they put quite a bit more money into it. The pages have that very nice, like, smooth, heavy weight, and the color in it is really nice. Like, the blacks are really quite printed quite black, and the detail is actually good. I can't say that the quality is like this for most Tokyopop titles, so it's very impressive. I'm really happy to have it. Apparently it's sci-fi, that's what they're calling it. But yeah, really pretty. I'm looking forward to reading this one. I think there's enough of this, though, that I could read it at any time, because I am only missing a few volumes from near the end, and I have been finding them, so hopefully this one won't take too much longer to complete. I ended up picking up another volume of Guardian Angel Gaten by Sakurano Minene. This is volume 4. I think the other volume that I have is volume 2. And this one, like, it was published in the very early 2000s, if that. Let's see what the publication date is. It was published in 2004, but it's like really white. It's got these heavy pages. It feels like it hasn't been read, like it's got a really tight binding. It's just in like great condition, and it feels new. It feels clean and new, which is always wonderful. The last volume that I picked up was sort of an accident. I put it in my cart, or in my bag, because I just pick things up because everything is just laid out really disorganizedly, and because I saw the word Raijin, this is published by Raijin Comics, I put it in my bag, and then before I pay I usually take everything out, make sure I haven't bought any doubles, and then you know, go on my way. But this one I had put in my cart, or my bag, because it said Raijin, and then I forgot to take it out because I hadn't found any other volumes, and I didn't want to buy just like a volume 2 randomly, so now I am collecting it because I have that volume 2. So here's volume 4. I don't know anything about the series, but that's fine. I think this is sort of about, looks like almost an alien girl, and she meets a boy, I guess an angel, and meets a boy, an earth boy. Maybe it's a little bit like Oh My Goddess. That sort of, from a really quick flip through, it looks a little bit like that. So anyway, hopefully one day I will have more of this and able to read it. I bought 2 volumes of Mare, so I bought volume 10 and volume 14. This is by Nobuyuki Anzai. I actually have read this before many years ago, of course, when it was still releasing. I had borrowed it from the library, but it is now quite out of print, and I'm unable to just read it whenever I want it. I really enjoyed this when I read it, and I think it's probably one of those titles that seems quite forgotten. There was just a lot of fun in it. It is a fairly short shonen fantasy battle series, and hopefully it won't take too long to collect this. I have a handful of titles now, or a handful of volumes, but I think it was less than 20 volumes, if I recall. Like, I remember it being quite short. So it just wraps everything up really neatly, and I remember I really liked the characters, and the powers were really quirky, and I don't remember too much about it, but I'm looking forward to actually reading this again and checking it out. And maybe one day it will be kind of at that place where I can read it. I picked up another volume of Dark Edge by Yu Aikawa. This is volume 6, published by Dr. Master. I do have quite a lot of Dark Edge. I think I'm only missing 2 volumes. One of them, of course, is volume 1. This, I think, is a story about kind of like a high school battle where there are like maybe demons or vampires or something at school, and there's some battling. I think it's more of a darker series, maybe hence the title, I'm not sure. I have been collecting this for quite a long time, but of course I haven't read any of it yet because I'm waiting for that ultimate volume 1, but I'm really excited though that I still am finding the volumes that I need, because I didn't see any other volumes, but I did need volume 6, and this is the one that I saw, so that was great. A new series to my collection, and it's not in the awesomest condition. It's quite old and yellowed, but I am buying it anyway, and I know nothing about it, and I don't really care. And that is Sarai by Masahiro Shibata. I have volume 6 and volume 7. These were published by Comics 1, who was the publisher before the last one, which is Dr. Master. Dr. Master took over from Comics 1, or Comics 1 became Dr. Master. These were our older publications, so they still have dust jackets on them, and so that was really exciting to see. But I don't know anything about this story. It looks like maids and battle and kind of almost a horror series, a very 1990s look to it. I don't know. Guard maids. That's what it says here on the back. Anyway, I don't really know anything about this. Certainly if you've heard of this or have read it, I would love to hear about it, but I wasn't particularly concerned about it. I really like Comics 1 publications, particularly from this era, so I wanted to just add it to my collection because I saw them. And like I was saying with the Gaten manga, where I had accidentally picked up a title and didn't take it out of my cart, the same thing happened with this one. This is Slayers the Ruby Eye. This is by Hajime Kanzaka, but the reason that I don't want it is it's a light novel. Some of you like light novels, and that's totally fine with me, but they're just not my thing. There is a little bit of art in it, which is nice, but I'm in it for the manga. I want to read the art. Actually, there's some art here. Yeah, so I was a little disappointed to find out that this was a light novel. I don't particularly want to collect light novels. This isn't my mandate at all for my collection, so I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to do with this. I probably will just add it to, I have a handful of light novels now, because I keep picking them up by accident. Yeah. I wouldn't normally have chosen this for myself, and I'm not entirely sure I'm going to read it. I picked up another new series to me, sort of. This is El Hazard, The Magnificent World. Story and art by Hidemoto Tsubara, based on El Hazard, created by Hiroki Hayashi and Ryoei Tsukimura. This is volume 2, was published by Viz Comics. It says Viz graphic novel on it. I bought this because of the nostalgia. I do have the anime of El Hazard on VHS. So it's just a little bit of nostalgia, and I thought it would be fun to collect since I saw it there. I don't know that I've seen it before, so I wanted to just start collecting it. It will probably take a while. I don't know how much was published. I don't know anything. That's pretty much what happens when I go to these sales. It's really just I bring my list of things, and if I don't have it already, it's pretty much fair game. And I wanted it, so I bought it. I bought a couple of Japanese language volumes, including volume 36 and 37 of Sazan Eyes, or 3x3 Eyes. I have what Dark Horse had published, which is only a handful of volumes. Like, I don't even think it made it to volume 10. There's so much more that never was published. I have the anime, love it to death. It's absolutely wonderful. Or at least it's wonderful to me. It's definitely my era of anime. But I was just really happy to see this, and definitely will be trying to read a little bit of this if I can. It does look like it's got quite a lot of kanji in it, so a little bit above where I'm at, but since I got it for so cheap, I thought, I'm just going to add this because I really do love 3x3 Eyes, and Yuzo Takada is probably the first mangaka that I was ever aware of, so Really anything that he does I kind of want, even if it's something I can't read. Another author that is like that is Oughta Say, and this is Atsubare Shibangu. Probably. Volume 2. They didn't have Volume 1. I have never heard of this manga. I thought I had all of Oughta Say's manga, so I don't know what this is. But it's obviously her style, and it kind of looks like a comedy with some fantasy elements, almost in the style of Fushigi Yugi, like the same kind of world that she has written. So I am very interested in checking this out and finding out what this is. And then the last Japanese language volume that I got is Ribbon Comics. This is Setsu Naine. And it is a variety of short stories. They look bittersweet. There's a lot of crying in them. Shoujo manga just look very sweet. I like Ribbon Comics. They're just, I don't know, there's just something so comfy about them. And this is maybe a level of language that I could attempt to read. And since it's self-contained, that's why I picked it up, because it doesn't have another volume. Or if it does have another volume, it's short stories, so I can just read what I want, or try to read what I want. So I will pick these things up when I see them. I wasn't particularly looking for it, but since it was there. I bought a variety of volumes of the same series. This is Knights of the Zodiac, as you can see, by Masami Kurumada. This is the same author as BT'X, which I've shown you already. This is quite a long series, but it's something that I've been wanting for so long, and I've mentioned it in my last haul video, I think, that I wanted to collect this, and he had some volumes. It's quite out of print, and it's hard to get these volumes for a good price, so I was really happy to find what I did, and now the long journey of collecting the rest of it. But I ended up getting volumes 6, 11, 25, 7, 23, 13, 20, 22, 24, 26, 27. So a whole bunch in the like early 20s, and then a couple of others. I probably should have put these in order before I made the stack. So yeah, it's going to be a while before I can read this, but I'm just really, really happy to have some of these volumes. Hopefully it won't take me, you know, a decade to find the rest of them for a decent price, but I was just really happy to see them there at the sale, and I am looking forward to reading this particular series. But I'm very close to collecting the rest of BT'X, so I probably will at least get to read that soon. Then I got a relatively new volume. This is volume 1 of Blood plus Adagio. I did actually see volume 2 there, and I forgot to go back and pick it up, so I hope there isn't too much to pick up. I don't know, is volume 2 all there is, or is there more to this? I'm not entirely sure. I have Blood plus C or something. I have more of this series, so I picked up more of the series. I haven't read any of this series. I mostly picked it up because my sister made me, but, you know, she put it in my hands. That's pretty much what happened. So I don't really know, I don't know if I'm going to like it. I don't know if I want to collect it. I wasn't going to pick it up. But it's a volume 1, so I think that was okay. And then the last thing that I got are 4 volumes from the same series, and I'm very happy to see this. This is Canon God Exastion, oh no. I don't know how to pronounce this one. By Kenichi Sonoda. This is the same author as Gunsmith Cat, so I got a volume 1, volume 2, volume 3, and volume 4. And this was published by Dark Horse in quite a large format. It feels like a pretty good publication. Definitely is going to be a battle series. Looks like aliens, monsters, some sort of a space thing. Oh, naked and big guns. That's pretty much what the art looks like. It's a little bit dated art style, I think. Not that that's a bad thing, but it should be fun, I hope. More of a science fiction type story, which I, of course, am not super into, but I was happy to find these. Certainly kind of an odd little thing to find, and I was glad to find so many volumes in a row, so that was really exciting. I don't know how much there is to collect of this, and hopefully it won't take me forever to pick this up to read, because I can read this because there's 4 volumes starting at volume 1. and I would like to read some of the things that I buy. Most of the things that I've got here on the floor I can't read, or I can't read for a while, just because I don't have a volume 1, or they're just kind of like weird in-between volumes. This one I can read, so hopefully it won't take me forever to do that. So that's it. That's everything that I bought in March and April. Hopefully that was interesting to you. If you've read any of these titles, I would be very curious to know what you thought of them. Anyway, because most of them I don't know pretty much anything about, and that was probably really annoying just hearing me talk about how I don't know what that's about. Another thing that I don't know what that's about. That's how I collect the manga. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye for now.